Hey, this is the Nature Boy Ric Flair. And believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
Celebrating 9 years of podcast excellence, the King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents the Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us. Tonight we celebrate the Burberry scarf wearing Maxwell Jacob Friedman, who gets for the first time his very first world title. AEW didn't put him to where he won the TNT title, the All Atlantic title, none of that. Instead, they have him in a title match where he wasn't in a title match before against CM Punk. But here, or no, he was going to be in a match with CM Punk, right? I forget what all it was. I think CM Punk and MJF were just, there wasn't even a title, but still. MJF has a title shot. He gets it here. And what a wonderful storyline to give us to bring it up. So look, MJF still being a heel, now with the help of Lord Steven Regal, to make things happen to where the fight about the Dynamite Diamond ring to use in the ring. And instead, Regal passes him the brass knuckles. Like, that storyline is just, you just see where when in the moment, Regal said, hey, don't use the diamond ring, win it right. And just because he dropped it just for that moment, Regal then, okay, you get it now. You had the chance to try to do something here. Now you're going to win the match. We're going to give you what you need. Somewhere, some way, Regal goes, gets the brass knuckles over, and there you go. And that's it. And John Moxley will take the loss. And MJF now gets to be champion. What amazing time we got. And the crowd was super crazy for this. Prudential Center, Newark, New Jersey. Fun night. I could go on and on with how this goes. And really, I don't want to take too much time tonight, because there's going to be so much to be said after Dynamite about where things go with the MJF title run now. Because this is a significant one for this company. It's, there's one thing to be said about all the stars they've had on. But this is the real, him and Adam Page being champion, Kenny Omega being champion. There are something to be said about those particular title holders. But something to be said about MJF being the youngest to hold the world title. He is it. And it's incredible that we have him here, where he's done so much for the career and for himself. He's been remarkable with all that he's done. It's absolutely, it works and encompasses everything. It really does. I am very proud of what he's done with his career. As you know, like, I was going back to this guy in MLW with the Dynasty, with Richard Holiday and Alexander Hammerstone. And I even then, Court Bauer, I must admit, every time I compare him with him, let's see. I'll admit, he found brilliance. Listen, Aria Blake wasn't like the most stellar, glamorous. She was a pretty girl. And there was something to be said about when MJF came out with her, and the first time I saw him, and the first thing I saw on him on MLW was one of those early episodes of Fusion when they brought the show back, 2018. And I'm saying, this guy's got a mouth on him. And like, immediately you saw, man, this guy could cut a promo here. Who is this guy? And I just latched on. And then they put him in, attached him to the Dynasty. It worked. And MJF had good quips on everything. They were doing the backstage stuff, lifestyles of the rich and famous. Rich and Dynastic, I think it was. And like, it was good stuff. Like, I was really amazed at what they did with him and how they put it all together. And to see him go full force here. So there's no denying the fact that with MJF winning this title tonight, it's the first of many. Let's just make that clear. First of many. You do realize that. There's no other way to look at it. Down the line, this man is going to win several titles. Tonight, he epitomized what Ric Flair or Nick Bockwinkel or Larry Zbyszko, Roddy Piper, of course. Like, those are the kind of names I think about when I look at MJF in the ring tonight. the trash talking, the use of the ring where he could. I mean, just really so amazing things that are going on with him when he's out there. And dare I say, he almost gives me a little bit of a feel like a Bobby Heenan when I hear him talking. Just the way he's able to go and position himself. He's just the epitome of a heel. He has to be heel as champion here, makes sense. But like everything else that comes into play, he just fits the role. He does such a great job in this role. And it's good that Tony Khan realizes the value he has. And to see, okay, the contract thing, the title, it's the right time for him. It is the right time. I mean, for those that might want to go ahead and complain about what Tony Khan does for booking, I will say one thing. There's a lot of times when he's going to go ahead and book someone to win the title, that timing's pretty good. Like when this deserve, when you feel like it's the right time to do it, it's never too late. I don't feel like it is. Tonight, Jamie Hayter winning the interim women's title, you could have done a little bit sooner, but this is a good time. This is a very good time for this to happen. And so I can appreciate where he went there and decide, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to pull the trigger. Because everything was just, the momentum was ready to go for that. If you're talking about other organizations like an Impact, I'll put it like this. Impact, Scott D'Amore would not pull the trigger. He will take a little bit longer. Because I think when Josh Alexander was ready for that title, or when Moose was ready for that Impact World title, he held off. And when it comes to Heyman and Page, no. When it comes to, I don't think with John Moxley when it was done, when CM Punk won it, no, that's about right. Like all that was working out right. And it's good. And it's good to see MJF here in this spot. Overall. But like I said, there's just so much to be said. I'm going to try to keep it as short as I can. There's so much to be said about his title win that we'll talk about later. Now, in the 0 hour pre-show, I missed all this. Let me just real quickly go ahead and run into what I saw there that they had. I know that for a fact that Ethan Page was watching and he saw that Ricky Starks won the finals of the World Title Eliminator, the other semifinal of the World Title Eliminator Tournament. So Ricky Starks, Ethan Page will take on each other to find out who will be the ultimate eliminator and will be a contender for the world title. We'll get to that pretty soon. So anyway, it was best friends over the Factory first match. Eddie Kingston over Jun Akiyama. And it was good to go and see that Kingston got a chance to go and have that match and do whatever it was. And like I said, then you also saw that Ricky Starks won. And that was in a match he had where he had to take on Brian Cage. And now Starks will face Ethan Page on AEW Dynamite in the finals of the World Title Eliminator Tournament. And as we said, somebody's going to get a chance to win that title. They're going to get a chance at a title shot, and a Mario might be against MJF. And the thing is, you also freshen the point that MJF is going to have so many opponents now that'll vie for that world title. Like, there's a lot of people he can go after, given the time and what's coming up. So let's do a quick rundown of the matches. Steel cage match, Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus. What a hell of a match to start off with. And you know what? This was better off to go and finally not have this, with the fact that Jungle Boy couldn't be in the match and we didn't have that full-on match that we finally got to get to have. But with Christian Cage being involved, this time it didn't happen so much. Christian Cage was taken out by security. Non-factor in this match. Jungle Boy hitting Destroyer, hitting delayed pile driver. Like, really holding up Luchasaurus that high up. Or just up there in that suspended spot, upside down. Like Jungle Boy Jack Perry, man, he's got some strength. He's impressive. And this was a very good way, the fact that Jurassic Express has been around for so long. And you have this breakup of this tag team. And I think when you look at it, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, they both benefit from this feud. Absolutely. Not a bad thing to break them up. Like, you're always going to have some, some enjoyment as to what they did. They were World Tag Team Champions. They did great. And Jungle Boy continues to move along very well on the trajectory. He is one of those pillars that continues to look strong. And I think down the line, you have to look at him as a potential TNT champion. I think that's where he goes down the line at some point. But you're going to continue to build him up. Who's going to be the next opponent? Because I think we move on from Luchasaurus Who's next for Jungle Boy? I figure it has to be somebody bigger. I think the dynamic of him going after bigger, stronger guys, big heavyweights, does make sense to me. So, for instance, if Powerhouse Hobbs knocked out now this TNT title, you could just see him going into something like this. Meanwhile, Wardlow and Samoa Joe now need to go ahead and handle business for themselves. And that feud now goes on. But either which way, Jungle Boy bloodied both wrestlers. Pretty even matchup. Jungle Boy very much over. And it was nice to see the shots in the crowd to his family, which they've done many times before. The way they finished was strong. Jungle Boy slams Luchasaurus through a table. Snare trap to finish. Decisive. Use of the cage was well done because you had Jungle Boy being scraped up against the cage. You could actually see the blood coming out of him. Like, that was pretty vivid. Pretty visual. AEW World Trios Championship match. Now look, you got one match tonight, and now we got a potential of 7 in a series coming up starting this week. And you know what it is? I mean, people are going to actually like that. It's like, you know what? For me, I still think of Beer Money versus Motor City Machine Guns, and that was a best of 5. There was something good about that. I remember people really like, what was it? Cesaro and Sheamus when they went best of, 5, right? And then became the Bar after that. Something about that Death Triangle and the Elite together, yeah, you wanted to see those guys just run at it. And as long as Death Triangle are holding the belts, I don't know if the belts are going to be on the line, but I think best of 7 has actually. I don't know if they said anything about that. Is the best of 7 and the winner's going to be the champion? Because we have to wait those matches to see who wins the best of 7, and then the title holder will be who wins the best of 7. I guess that's what it is, right? So the Kenny the Bucks come back out to Kansas's "Carry On My Wayward Son," a 1976 classic, which I forget how high up on the charts it went, but it was a big song. And that's what they decided to come out to. I gotta look it up. Hold on. I gotta see how high on the Billboard Hot 100 was this song. I have to look. Okay. 1976, the album was Leftoverture, number 11 song on the Billboard Hot 100 in early 1977. Signature song for the band. There you go. Carry On My Wayward Son. Now, the song is Carry On Wayward Son. But I know everybody was out there, Carry On My Wayward Son. Oh, it's Carry On Wayward Son is the official song. But anyway, good song anyway. If you listen to classic rock, you've heard it over and over. Anyways. Now moving along. In the match, crowd is so hot for this. Elite looks very sharp to come off the bat. Like, the thing is, you're just going off. It's like watching wrestling's version of Cirque du Soleil. And I think what they want to do with these matches, they're just going to let these guys just go acrobatic. They're going to go flippity flop, and they're going to do the spot monkey stuff like everybody wants to watch. And that's part of what you're going to see here. Because listen, I know people are going to kind of complain about the fact that if you're a purist, okay, you drop suspension of belief, right? When there was a trio of pile drivers, the Death Triangle got taken by the Elite, and all of a sudden, Death Triangle starts hitting their moves. Like, what is it? Phoenix hits a shot, and then the Destroyer by Pentagon. Like, I mean, come on. It's like you almost forget the fact that you're actually doing it. But yeah, the moves, no sell. They're just no sell. But that's like what Ring of Honor was. That's what, you feel that. Like, that's just that type of match that it is. It's just a style. But it's not all over the place anymore like it might have been at one point. These guys is what you expect of this match. But either which way, Hammer teased, which was used by Pac and various times, trying to use it throughout the storyline of this match, which was nice to go and call back. And Phoenix did use it to hit Omega to retain the trios titles. And also, fuck CM Punk chants very loud in the crowd during this match. So the crowd in New Jersey makes him very vocal, very much representing the AEW faithful. Yeah, CM Punk is no longer necessary. So for the fact he's going to be bought out of his contract, they'll take him out of here. I think that audience are the WWE faithful. Are they going to be wondering, do they want to have him too? Because remember, I talked about this a few weeks ago. I'm not a fan of him going anywhere else. I think we don't need to see CM Punk in a ring anymore. He doesn't need to be under contract working matches anymore. I think that run is done. I mean, for his first sake, because of the fact he got injured. And he continues to get injured. So let's just put that in front. And then second, the attitude in the locker room is going to also be the same way. So we'll just leave it there. That's it. In the meantime, we move along, and AEW TBS Championship, Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose. This is like one of those, it was like a Rampage feud for the most part, and Nyla Rose still in the battle of the belts, okay. But also, by the book, Jade 5 minutes, done. Like, I think that's all it was. Let me just go back and look real quick. But I think that's all it was when it was done. Like, it was like, okay, no surprise here. They're going to just finish up, and that's it. Not much else to it. So going into the card, the matches, Jade Cargill, 8 minutes for this match. 18 minutes for the Trios title, 18 for Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. And then we move along. You know, the one you want the real work rate match? Well, that's the Ring of Honor World Title. Chris Jericho, champion. Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Sammy Guevara. Listen, for those purists out there for Ring of Honor, I'm sure you love the fact that Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli were in the ring together again. One-on-one. Jericho and Guevara, the story of possible betrayals between the factions, which was a good story. One-on-one confrontations, they set that up really well. And Jericho continues to retain. And yes, what is going to happen, even though it might be a little bit butchered, the fact that, you know, Chris Jericho is all of a sudden Ring of Honor champion, and he's been a champion for a while, like with his belt. Like, the title means something more. It's much more prestigious because of who's been holding it. So I give that part some credence compared to some of the other champions that might have been out there. Like, you know, Chris Jericho is a credible champion with work rate. Very credible when it comes to his career. Like, he's not a joke. The guy has been world renowned, worldwide. For him to go and have this belt, I understand. But I still want to see who's going to be holding on to this when there's a standalone. When Ring of Honor is a standalone product. What Tony Khan thinks about what that title represents and what that promotion is going to represent once they have a TV deal in place. That's what I think about there. Match number 5, Saraya versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. They focus on the repaired neck, so storylines here, not bad. Saraya did have a little bit of ring rust, but she could hit her moves. But yeah, still a little bit of adjustment. 5 years away is a long time. Plus, you remember that she went through so much. And, you know, you think about Forever With My Family, the movie that she did, that was done on her life, and what was it? Fighting With My Family, excuse me. Which, as I said before, is a pretty good movie. I must admit, 2019 movie, it was very good. Florence Pugh playing Saraya was very good. I think she did a great job. And I think just the movie overall did a good job putting it all together. I did enjoy that. And like seeing her brother, and if you watch the movie, you got a chance to go and see what was going on. By the way, you know that movie had a budget of $11 million and it made $41 million? It actually did break profit. That's pretty good. So yeah, Zack Zodiac Knight, and you saw him as that outside there as the match was going on, and a big hug at the end of the night. It was good, nice emotion there. 12 minutes, and Saraya looked pretty good out there. You know, you could just tell that she's just a little bit different looking now. She hasn't been in the ring in a while, but I think she's doing fine. Now, the only thing is that I understand where Saraya and Dr. Britt Baker and the story they're telling here, it is kind of bad that, you know, you have other stars that are also trying to get themselves somewhere on the show. But you did have 3 matches with women on the card, which is good. But did you have that many matches on the card of 10 on the main card? That's great. Now you just want to make sure the other women are going to get a chance to get somewhere up that way. And that's all these girls that are be on Dark and Rampage and stuff. And like, where are we going to go with them? You know, some of them are getting on Dynamite, but it's like, it's kind of tough to come by. There's a lot of work left in that women's division to do. It's not smooth. It is not Knockouts division smooth. Like, got a lot of good pieces in there. Don't get me wrong. We'll talk about that in a second with Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm. But anyway, moving along, match 6, TNT title, Wardlow champion versus Ring of Honor TV champion Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs, the heavyweights. This show gave us a bit of everything. We had the Spot Fest. We had the work rate match. We had here the big guy match. We don't get a lot of these big guy matches. They do get them sometimes, but not even close to what it should be. And Wardlow having a tough match with Powerhouse Hobbs and Samoa Joe. And honestly, it made sense to me that Wardlow would go ahead and lose the belt here because it's his first title reign. And it was always dominant. And all of a sudden, now he has Samoa Joe, who's coming into the mix, and Powerhouse Hobbs. And now, Wardlow could not overcome what was happening. So Wardlow loses the belt, and Joe wins in a physical match, uses the Ring of Honor TV belt to win. There you go. And Joe now with both belts. Samoa Joe being booked strong. He might not be on there all the time, but he's booked very strong. Sting and Darby Allin versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. It kind of gave me a bit of a feel of like what the Ric Flair last match was. It was kind of like dynamic. And also, I'll admit, okay, this match itself lasted 11 minutes. I think the first 7 minutes, you know, Tony Schiavone, love him. Look, I'm so happy he's out there and doing the commentary. But man, he did talk about WCW 2000. I'm like, I know, man. I'm daydreaming of Bash at the Beach 2000. I'm like, oh my God. Slap nuts. I could just see Jeff Jarrett with the spiked hair and like those orange sunglasses or whatever, and Russo booking him like he's like the biggest thing since sliced bread. I remember that. Oh my goodness. Those were not great days, man. They were not. Jeff Jarrett was champion at a really rough time. But yeah, that got me there. But then he was Darby channeling his inner Sting. You see him coming out of a move where he was on the ground. He all of a sudden gets the super strength, goes all, gorilla-like. And I'll tell you, man, Darby Allin, strong. Another great match with Darby Allin as another pillar in a very strong role. So give that credit there. Like I said, the younger stars, they continue to be put in the right place. Orange Cassidy wasn't on tonight, but they did show him on TV. He's going to go out to they got a match. I forget who they're going to have on, but they have matches already set up for Wednesday. Match number 8, the interim women's title. This was very good. Jamie Hayter going up against the champion Toni Storm. Crowd all in for Jamie. Title win was overdue. Needed to have happen. And, Rebel coming out there. I think when they threw her out of the match, just to kind of like, she went this kind of guttural, like yelling, ah! It's kind of like over the top, but anyways. Toni Storm getting blood in this match. She also got color. And Jamie Hayter, man, you could just tell she was ready for this role. She was ready to be here. And the whole thought, Dr. Britt Baker had to come out and help. So they're going to continue that storyline. Now, does Jamie Hayter finally kind of break away now that she has the belt? You can always see something like that come up. You never know. Something like that can happen. And match number 9, AEW Tag Team Titles Acclaimed versus Swerve and Our Glory. Swerve goading Keith Lee to cheat. That's the focus of the storyline, which is good. And Billy Gunn and the attack on him. Like the storyline on the Swerve and Our Glory Acclaimed series for these two teams as tag team in the tag team division is good. They're doing a pretty good job, even though you wouldn't mind if FTR was back out there somewhere. I'm like, where's FTR, man? Shit. And, I'm sure there's some other tunes I can think of, but Acclaimed is very much over. And they have this feature right now with Swerve and Our Glory. It's good stuff. Very good rubber match. And we can see things go out, and now we can just see where Swerve and Keith Lee will split off at some point. The AEW World Title, Jon Moxley versus MJF, and Moxley playing the bully in this match. And he plays really strong. Moxley playing his role strong here. MJF takes a lot of punishment in the match. MJF is stellar. Like, I love the way this guy works in the ring. He did kind of play like he was playing a babyface in this match for the most part. When he sold the movie where he hit what was the piledriver, what it was that he hit on the apron? And you could see the way he smacked his knee on the apron on the hard side. He sold that thing, man. He just kept selling it. And that guy was just a full-on loud, like he went all in for it. Sold it so good. That guy really learned, man. He gets it, man. He gets it. Then, it's just like almost like, it's not a Ric Flair match. I know. I don't want to compare. But it's like there's an old school feel to this band doing this match. Trash talking. You get the classic storytelling in the ring. That knee injury is about as good as Ric Flair would have. Honestly. About as good. And MJF causes the ref bump, which is like just a very much typical, like a good heel. Dynamite Diamond Ring, he doesn't use it. And then the focus from Regal to MJF, that dynamic is wonderful. And that's the part where you have to see what happens after that. MJF with the brass knuckles, MJF knocks out Moxley after, getting stuck in the bulldog choke, choking and tapping out. Still found a way to win. Cheating, but he won. Excellent work. Love this match. 23 minutes for this match. Excellent work. What a great storyline we got going into Wednesday. I want to see how it's going to work out. And by the way, this was the cash-in of the poker chip for the Casino ladder match for MJF. So he cashes in and wins. That's commendable. Good stuff for him. So I'm very happy to see MJF now mark this milestone. He is now AEW World Champion on the way out of Full Gear. And Jamie Hayter is now new. I mean, yeah, through a lot of title changes, man. New Interim Women's World Champion. New TNT Champion. I mean, great stuff, man. Really, really good stuff tonight. So we'll leave it there. Thanks for listening in. We're coming back Wednesday with another Wrestling is Real podcast because wrestling needs us. Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast. You can find all previous episodes at wrestlingisreal.com or subscribe to the show on all major podcast outlets, including Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Follow the King of Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at King of Podcasts, and search King of Podcasts on YouTube, or type youtube.com/JBRASCO951. This has been a presentation of the King of Podcasts Radio Network.